Yo, what is up, guys? I'm bringing you a brand new video, and this time we're talking about 10 easy quality of life changes that would make BDO even better. Now, in this video, I'm going to be discussing some changes that I think would vastly improve my personal game experience, as well as I think the main frustrations that a lot of players have in the game for just really easy things that really would not take much time to fix and could be simply done in literally an afternoon. So the starting change that I have in mind here is a toggle on loot scrolls. Now, as you guys currently know, with loot scrolls, they are either a 60-minute duration, or if you use simple alchemy on them, you can turn them into 30 minutes. But the problem that they have is if you, for any reason, have to duel for spot, or if you have to go suddenly, or if you are simply PvP'd, or if you simply just don't want to grind anymore, there's a lot of time that you are wasting your item collection increase scrolls. Maybe you want to go to a GVG and you just popped a scroll, and it's really quite a burden to pop these scrolls and know that you have to be locked in for that next hour of grinding. So it would be really nice if, just like the recent Agris Fever buff change that we got, where there is a little icon and a toggle on and off, it would be amazing if we could pop our loot scrolls into a pool of a total time on our loot scroll and activate that total time by clicking on or off an icon. And that would make it where if you wanted to grind for, 4 hours and 37 minutes, you could do so efficiently without having to waste your loot scroll time. The other one I have here is entering full screen mode while being attacked. Now, currently, if you are in full screen window, or if you are in game window, and you try to go into full screen while you're presented by mobs or around PvP, what ends up happening is you will be kicked from your full screen transition back into the full screen window game mode if that's where you started. And this is particularly annoying, especially when grinding, because for some players that have two different monitor resolutions and they have multiple monitors, it can take a few seconds to go from full screen window into full screen, and having to clear out all the mobs can be time consuming, especially if you're fighting in a very high end zone where mobs take a while to kill. And so it would be extremely nice if you could just go into full screen window while being attacked by mobs. There's really nothing more frustrating for me personally in the game, where if you think that you killed all the mobs around you and then you get hit by a random tower and it knocks you back into full screen window, or having to just run away to a safe spot just to go into full screen mode. It'd be so nice if you could just go straight to full screen while being hit. The other one is switching from Awakening to Successions, or vice versa. Now, currently there exists an item in the game called the Secret Book of Old Moon, and this allows you to switch between your Awakening and Succession without having to do an Awakening quest on another character to get the item to switch around, and it also makes changing your add-ons free and not having to use memory fragments. So it's a pretty nice item, but one thing that it still sort of fails to do is add that convenience level of switching from Awakening to Succession. You still have to switch all your add-ons in a town. You still have to completely redo your overlay. You have to make your skill cooldown slots different. You have to change your hotbars, and everything is not just a seamless switch from Awakening to Succession. Essentially, you have to spend several minutes modifying everything to your liking when you're switching back and forth, and it can be a pretty cumbersome task depending on your class and how many skill cooldown slots you want where. And so it would be an incredible change if you had this Secret Book of Old Moon, which is considered a pay-to-win item. It's pretty hard to get off the market, and it costs pearls otherwise. So having a really true convenience of it to be able to switch from Awakening to Succession while it is activated, whether that be in a safe zone, or if they think that's too strong, then even just in a town, something easier that it can just change all of those settings over to your liking in both Awakening and Succession. The next one is using meals and drafts while on cooldown. So currently for cron meals, they have a 30-minute timer, as well as every other meal I believe has a 30-minute timer. And essentially, if you accidentally misclick a meal, you now cannot pop another one. So if you meant to pop a simple cron and you popped an exquisite, that exquisite for up to 2 hours, unless you enter the Arena Varsha, which is not exactly the most convenient thing in the world. And it would be really, really nice if, while a meal was on cooldown, it simply just did not give you health experience when you eat it. Instead, it would just replace that meal. And the same thing with drafts. So it specifically says on the tooltip of the drafts, no matter which one you drink, that when the above effects are effective, any effect of other elixirs will not be stacked. And this includes, air attack elixirs, down attack elixirs, even just life XP elixirs. Like every type of elixir does not stack with the draft. And it would be nice if you could drink one of those and replace the draft, because popping them for 30 minutes in the case of meals and 15 minutes in the case of drafts, or having to, clear your draft by going and dying to something, is not exactly super convenient if you accidentally misclick. So it'd be really nice if they could somehow have a way, maybe just a cleanse button or something, where you could just cleanse your draft or cleanse your current meal. Anything to just make it where you don't have to, wait such a long timer to eat another meal if you meant to eat something else. So another one that's pretty huge, at least for guilds that do Node Wars and Siege, is the functionality of guilds and wars is pretty pathetic for the most part. I think the game could be a lot better in terms of Node War functionality. And things I mean by that is, for players like the GM of the guild, you have to use guild skills through the guild menu. You have to pop it up over the middle of your screen and click them manually. It would be really nice if you could just put those abilities on a hotbar, like command to gather, or the resistance buff or the HP buff, things that you just want to pop on the fly in the middle of the fight reactively. It's pretty unintuitive right now. The other thing is colored pings. Currently we only have red pings and platoon pings. It would be really nice if certain entities like your flex squad could have purple pings while your main ball has red pings, or maybe there's your cannon team could have blue pings, right? It'd be cool if there was different color pings and the guild would know which ping colors go to which particular part of your team. And it would make organization a lot easier. Additionally, marking of the shot caller. Sometimes in war, it can be very difficult to find who your shot caller or where your shot caller is. So having a nice big icon over its head or something to make it more obvious that is where your shot caller is would be amazing. Additionally, during Siege, if you are a attacker in the region and you are attacking another attacker in the region, their names are blue, which is the exact same name as your team. So it's really tough to discern who is on your team and who is not on your team. So having all names red during Siege, or perhaps making their name some other color instead of red, to make it more obvious that is an enemy. As well as marking PA on enemies to be more obvious. So if protected area is applied to an individual, it'd be nice if their HP bar went gold or something and essentially says that they are very, very invulnerable to damage at this time, or, highly damage reduced opponent alert type of thing. And that would be really, really nice to make sure people don't blow their ultis on individuals that are PA'd, and it would help the strategy of sieges a lot. So tents being more easily placeable is one that I think a lot of people can find some frustration with. Currently with tents, you cannot place them in a safe zone, you cannot place them in towns, you can't place them on roads, you can't place them on elevation. There's just a lot of instances where you want to put a tent down and you're walking for quite some time to try to find an appropriate location. And tents currently are able to be toggled whether or not you can even see them, whether you can see other adventurers' campsites. So I really feel like a lot of these limitations are quite arbitrary in my opinion, because if I wanted to place a tent on a road and someone had an issue with that, they could simply just toggle the tents off so that they can't see other people's tents. So I don't really know the reason behind why you can't put tents on more elevated ground. It's probably just a graphical thing, but especially on roads and, certain safe zones like different farms in Balanos and things like that, which really should be appropriate places to put your tent down, you simply just can't. So it'd be nice if there was maybe something that they could do to reduce some of the frustration of trying to put your tent down and having to do it, 5, 10 times before you find the right spot. The other one we have here is disabling elephants at tax cart. Now, I know a lot of people don't even know what tax cart is, but essentially it is an event that happens 2 hours before Siege every week. It's on Balanos 1 in Velia, or it's on Serendia 1 in Heidel, and there's a cart that's filled with taxes, and it will travel to Calphion. If you hit the cart, you'll be PvPable, and you can die to other players as well as enemy elephants. And the elephants are particularly annoying because the cart is rather small and the elephants are huge. In this image here, you can't even see the cart because there's so many elephants just on top of it. And elephants are really annoying because they will knock you out of super armor skills, and they also knock you back. So it's pretty, I would say one of my biggest frustrations with tax card is, getting hit by these elephants that are making more money than you in my opinion, an unintended way with these elephants. Elephants are siege utility animals, and essentially using them for tax cart for profit, I don't think was really the vision for it. And it's also just straight up really annoying for everyone else that doesn't have access to an elephant. So not only are they making a lot more money than other players, they're also hindering how much money other players can make with their, massive presence, and just there's always 10 plus at tax carts. It would also be very nice if we could promote workers while they are currently on a task. Now, I think a lot of people that started their worker empire have ran into the situation where, in this case, you have a professional goblin worker. It's got 3 promotions, but it is currently farming somewhere or doing something else. You would then have to cancel that task and wait out the 22 minutes until you could promote it. And then you just straight up have to either set a timer or you forget, one or the other. And it would be so nice if you could just cancel that task immediately and just promote it. Or, hell, just allow us to promote it while it's doing the task. Something to make it a little bit more intuitive and more easy to actually promote these workers, because I would say the number one reason why I currently still have professionals in my worker empire at all is because of this promotion feature. So for all the life skillers out there, I think that it would be really nice if you could do harpooning off of large boats. So the Carrack, as well as the Etheria sailboat and frigates, they simply just don't allow you to use your harpoon while on these boats, and it's pretty unintuitive given that all of the good harpooning spots are all the way out in Megoria, and you're not exactly going to want to ride a raft or a fishing boat all the way out there. So it would be super nice if you could actually harpoon off of these boats. Additionally, it would be really nice if you could put horses on these boats as well. Currently, you can only put a horse on a fishing boat, and I feel like this is super outdated. I remember back in the days in Pirates, I used to throw my horse on a fishing boat, and it was fine because that's the only boat I had. But if you want to travel with your horse somewhere, you simply just have to either get teleported by a compass or you have to ride a fishing boat. And especially with the teaser from the Heidel Ball that they're going to be working on expanding Port Rat in the future, people are going to need to bring their horses long distances over the water. And being able to put it on these boats would be really nice. Additionally, it's a nice little buff for people that want to do trading with their horses. They can throw some crates on the boat, they can throw some crates on the horse, and then they can drive their boat from one of the ports in Etheria all the way towards Valencia. And we all know that trading kind of needs the buff. So it would be nice if that quality of life existed in the game. And on the topic of horses and boats, the last one we have here is transporting boats and horses remotely. So currently, if you are at a stable, like the one shown in this picture, you can click on a horse and there's a transport option. But you'll also notice that all these other donkeys in the picture are grayed out. If you click on those donkeys, there are no options. You can't do anything with them, you can't transport them, you can't do anything. It would be really nice if you could remotely transport a mount that is at another city or somewhere else and send it to your current location without having to have a character there. So if you have all of your characters in Valencia and you have a horse that is in Grana, you physically have to go all the way to Grana in order to transport that horse to Valencia, so being able to remotely do that would be great. The same thing with boats. Sometimes your boat will get destroyed and it'll go all the way to Port Rat, and then you'll take a map and it'll go all the way to Ilia Island. And now all of a sudden, your boat is all the way in Rat and you have no way of going to it anymore. So it'd be really nice if you could also transport your boats in the same type of a way where you can send it without having a character directly at that wharf manager. That's all I have for this top 10. I know that I'm missing out on some things that are pretty important to you guys, so maybe I'll make another future video about quality of life changes, and if you have your own quality of life changes that you'd really love, I'd like to hear about them in the comments. And yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully we can get some of these changes implemented soon. Thanks, guys.